So please come here. This is our senior citizen of Pasighat.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you.
And our local
Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you. Great to be here.
CM Sharma. No, ini kok lampu dimulai ya.
It's a great touch. Yeah, of course, yeah. Great.
Sir, please come.
Congratulations.
They shall grow not old, as that we are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
And we'll have a 1 minute silence with the beagle being played.
Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Chief Minister Shri Pema Khandu, His Excellency the Ambassador of the United States of America to India, Mr. Eric Garcetti, along with dignitaries have arrived. So we will start today's program by lighting of the lamp ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished dignitaries have arrived. So we will start out today's program by inviting to the podium the Museum Director of the Hump, World War II, Sri Okentang, for a short introduction about the museum.
First of all, I'd like to thank our Chief Minister for all the support he's given, all the patience through realizing this museum to come into reality. And I would like to thank His Excellency, the Ambassador, for making time to this occasion today. Well, I had a hectic week, so didn't have much time to prepare a speech. But anyway, we are pressed for time, so let me keep it very brief. The museum is a story of a really big military operation. We hear about the Berlin-led known as the greatest airlift in the history of the world. But the Hump is supposed to be even bigger than the bird airlift. So it's a remarkable piece of history, though in a situation like war. And as they say, there's nothing called a good war or bad peace. But incidentally, with this war, there's lots of connection between our people and the Americans and the other forces who are fighting in this area. In the years back mostly in the 40s, our forefathers used to see these planes flying over their head without any idea that where these planes are from and what's the reason of them flying overhead. But now we have at least about 30 to 40 planes all across Arunachal, and we're starting to.
Please give a big round of applause. This is the traditional attire of the Adi tribe, which is adorned very proudly by the men of the Adi folk. Also, the hamper is a beautifully curated bunch of local produce, which was specially curated by the Office of Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh. May I also request Honorable CM to felicitate Colonel Aaron Cooper, U.S. Air Force. Thank you so much. May I also request the Museum Director to kindly felicitate Chief Secretary Sri Dharmendra IAS. May I also request Sri Ogentai to felicitate Mr. Kai Friese, Managing Editor, India Today. To gain more insight about today's program, I would like to invite Mr. Kai Friese, Managing Editor, India Today, to talk on background of the venture, the Hump World War II.
And my own involvement with the history of the Hump and with this museum has been one of the happier accidents in my life. It started for me one day in 2003 in Arunachal Pradesh when I met a man named Mun Thalum in the village of Sarki in what is now Anjor district. I think I was irritating Mun Thalum with my many questions, and perhaps to distract me, he started talking about the American War and how he saw tum-tum garis in the sky long before he ever saw a truck. And then he told me about this plane that crashed in the nearby hills of the Kong Circle in the 40s, and how the people of his Mishmi community had rescued 2 of them. I knew right away that I would have to make my way to this crash site someday. Then I wrote about meeting Unthalum, and before long I heard from a veteran Hump pilot named Fletcher, Christy Hanks. He told me that the plane that crashed was called CNAC 58, or Ship 58, and that one of its pilots, Joe Roswell, was still alive. And so it went. In 2006, I walked up to the rocky 15,000-foot mountaintop where the wreckage of Ship 58 lies, along with my friend Jogin Tamai from Tezu, who had first taken me to Sarti. It was one of the most wonderful adventures of my life, and in many ways I've never come down. Perhaps the best thing about that journey has been the miraculous people I met along the way. Fletcher Hanks and Joe Rosbert, of course, and also Minga Ramat, one of the people who saved the flyers back in 1943. And Pete Gutierrez, the Indian-born American Hump pilot who became my oldest friend. He left us this year at the age of 107.
Excellency Eric Garcetti, Ambassador of the United States of America, Colonel Douglas Hess, U.S. Army, Colonel Eric Garcetti, U.S. Air Force, as your presence here.
Namaskar and good afternoon. मेरा नाम एरिक गार्सेटी है। मेरा नाम एरिक गार्सेटी है। I am the U.S. Ambassador to the great Republic of India. This is one of the proudest days that I've been able to serve in this position. And let me say first to our great Chief Minister, thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your vision, and thank you for your leadership. When you came and visited me in New Delhi at the United States Embassy, I immediately felt not only the presence of a great leader, young men and women, flying over the tallest mountains in the world, burning so much fuel that 3/4 of the fuel they were delivering was burned just to get there. And 4 trips would have to provide enough fuel for one plane to be able to take off in China to resist the Japanese. Slow and heavy and weighed down with cargo, planes like the Douglas C-47, converted B-24s flew like lumbering bricks against an unforgiving terrain, blasts of wind unlike any other in the world. With poor maps, with limited navigation, with their own eyes and whatever was available, they hung on to hope. And one of the most moving things I just saw in the museum was a letter from one man who worked here in the Hump. It sounds like he was a maintenance person, writing his wife, wondering whether he would make it back. There was nowhere to land, there was nowhere to go but onward, to push with courage and with commitment. And their actions made a significant difference. Not just for our country, not just for an alliance, but for the world. And it is a lesson for us today, that when we stand together as friends, when we stand for principles like democracy and freedom, and we stand against the ideologies that seek to keep people down, that nothing can stop the human spirit. The supplies saved countless lives, 650,000 tons of fuel, food, and ammunition. My grandfather was an immigrant from Mexico who came to the United States as a baby when his father was killed in war during the Mexican Revolution. He was carried by my great-grandmother, who, when I look at the pictures in this museum, remind me of many of the men and women who saved lives. She was a native Mexican who lived in the hills of the Mexican state of Chihuahua, from a native tribe called the Tarahumara. Maybe you've read stories about them. They are the great barefoot runners, some of the best runners in the world who run in the mountains with no shoes on. And she carried her son, my grandfather, over the border to come to the United States. He wasn't accepted as a citizen, but for 20 years he lived in the United States. A humble man, he was a barber, and he volunteered in World War II to join the Allied forces and to fight in the Pacific Theater. And he came to the Pacific Theater here, not in India, but in the Philippines. As a result of that, he became a citizen of the United States, and his grandson today is standing before you as the United States ambassador to that country. When that courage steps forward, when the compassion that we saw in the hills reaches out its hands, history changes forever. But we also know that some of the stories don't end with a happy ending. 600 to 700 planes that were lost. Those who are still unaccounted for today. But we as Americans, and I know you as Indians, think that nobody should ever be left behind. And if it's too late, the memory should never be left behind. And that's why our Defense POW MIA County Agency, known as the DPAA, return to India annually with one goal: to recover the remains of those missing in action and to reunite them with their families for burial in their home country.
Arunachal Pradesh. This state is known as the land of rising sun. So firstly, I welcome His Excellency Ambassador Eric and his entire team from the Embassy, US Embassy. So indeed, it's a very historic moment for all of us, and together we have witnessed the inauguration of the Hump World War II Museum. So firstly, I must thank the director, my dear friend Mr. Okentai, and also I forgot to mention Mr. Guy, who is the managing editor of India Today group, and along with that, the person who has worked very hard, Mr. Bobby and Mr. Katu, along with under the guidance of Madam Pasighat Nov.30 and Commissioner Sonam as well. So the entire team, on behalf of the Government of Arunachal Pradesh, you guys really deserve a very good applause, and thank you so much. So today, as we have inaugurated this museum, and it's a double kind of a feeling. It's a kind of a big happiness that we have been able to make this museum, and a bit emotional also that this museum is dedicated to those martyrs way back in the World War II, especially those US airmen who has participated here in the World War II theatre, CBI theatre. So it's an initiative a small initiative from Government of Arunachal Pradesh. It's a dedication to all the heroes who has fallen here. So I must thank Ambassador for taking out his precious time and visiting our state. And with this, I must mention that you are the third ambassador to visit our beautiful state. Before that, in the year 2017, I think the ambassador who visited was Mr. Verma, and the second was Mr. Ken Chester. They both came for the Town Festival, and you are here as the third ambassador visiting our state. And I hope that with this initiative, and as Mr. Oken has also mentioned, so very less people know about especially the CBI theatre and the Hump, with the incident that took across all the areas. Hump includes Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Tibet, and Myanmar as well. So this incident way back in the Second World War, very few people know about the exact what has happened. So with this second museum, as stated by Mr. Oken, that in the entire Asian belt, this is the second Hump museum. So slowly, the younger generations, it will be a purpose.
Thank you so much. Well, first I just want to thank the Government of India, and I want to thank the Chief Minister and the government of this incredible state of Arunachal Pradesh. You've shown love, you've shown caring, not just 80 years ago in World War II, but today, for these memories to live on, for these relics to be a beautiful museum, and we're so honored to be a part of the opening of this today. This is a great museum for India, it's a great museum for America, and a great museum for the world. You know, the war dead should be holy. We should never play politics with the lives of families of these soldiers and airmen who had the courage to come across the world and
Right.
to fly the most difficult of conditions anywhere.
Right.
And I hope all of us, no matter what our nationalities are,
Yes.
can unify
Yes.
for the memories of these fallen heroes. We know that the United States and India have never been closer.
Yes.
This shows not only that we honor
Yes.
the dead, but we honor those who are living.
Definitely.
And we honor the future
Yes.
by making sure that museums like this
Yes.
can tell that.
आज अरुणाचल के लिए एक बहुत ही एक अच्छा दिन है क्योंकि काफ़ी संघर्ष और काफ़ी मुश्किल के बाद में यहाँ पे सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर दी हम म्यूज़ियम का यहाँ पे उद्घाटन हुआ है और जिसके लिए यूएस एम्बेसडर टू इंडिया एम्बेसडर एरिक ग्रेसेटी यहाँ पे आए हैं पूरे उनकी टीम के साथ में। तो उस वक्त में जब 1942 से लेके 1945 में जो जितने भी जो यूएस एयरप्लेन्स यहाँ से जो उड़ के हम जो कहते हैं जिसमें असम, अरुणाचल, तिब्बत और म्यांमार ये 4 एरिया को हम्प एरिया कहते हैं उस वक्त में। तो यहाँ पे उस दौरान मतलब मौसम भी काफ़ी बहुत ही मतलब एडवांस हुआ करता था। तो काफ़ी यहाँ पे प्लेन्स जो है क्रैश हुआ है, करीबन 600 से 700 फाइटर अमेरिकन फाइटर प्लेन्स यहाँ पे क्रैश हुआ है। और एयरमैन जो गुजर गया है उस वक्त में करीबन आंकड़ा ये बताते हैं करीबन 1600 1600 एयरमैन्स दे हैव फॉलन। तो उन सभी का मेमोरियल के लिए आज यहाँ पे राज्य सरकार की ओर से एक हम जो वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 म्यूज़ियम का यहाँ पे स्थापित किया गया है। तो इस हम म्यूज़ियम में जितने भी जो उस ज़माने का जो आर्टिफैक्ट्स है, जितने भी जो रिमेन्स है फाइटर का, उसको सारा यहाँ पे रखा हुआ है। इसके अलावा और भी कुछ पर्सनल चीज़ है जो चिट्ठी वगैरह उस ज़माने में जिस पायलट या जो भी उसमें जुड़ा हुआ था उस अमेरिकन लोगों ने लिखा हुआ। और इस हम म्यूज़ियम को बनाने के लिए यूएसए से भी कहीं लोग जो उस ज़माने में जो इनका परिवारजन्य था उन लोगों ने भी अपना आर्टिफैक्ट्स यहाँ पे भेजा है। सो उन सभी जो यूएस फैमिलीज जिन्होंने भी कंट्रीब्यूट किया है उसके लिए भी हम राज्य सरकार के लिए हम राज्य सरकार की ओर से हम बहुत धन्यवाद प्रकट करते हैं। तो धीरे धीरे अभी यहाँ पासीघाट में सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर हम्प का यहाँ पे म्यूज़ियम होने के बाद तो लोग अभी देश विदेश से भी आएंगे यहाँ इसको देखने के लिए, क्योंकि हम में ये दिस इज़ ओनली सेकेंड म्यूज़ियम जो अभी सुनने को आ रहा है। तो इसको देखने के लिए, इसका हिस्ट्री और वो सब कुछ देखने के लिए तो इन डिफरेंट एंगल यहाँ पे टूरिज़्म का भी काफ़ी बढ़ावा होगा। तो डेफिनेटली अपने इस सियांग बेल्ट और अरुणाचल के लिए एक अच्छा एक डेस्टिनेशन एक उभर के आएगा।